Hey, what's up? What's cracking? How's it going? Welcome to another episode of The Geek Master, where we love all things geek more than Aquaman would love for people to stop making corny fish jokes about him. As usual, I'm your charmingly mentally unstable host, Cassius Samuels, and today I've brought you guys here so I can give you my top 5 thoughts on how to fix the DCEU going forward so it can prosper and live strong next to the juggernaut that is the Marvel Cinematic Universe. So strap yourselves in and get ready. So starting at the bottom and working our way to the top, beginning with number 5, I believe lowering the budget will go a long way to helping the DCEU flourish more from a profit standpoint. And I know that sounds counterintuitive, but just hear me out. I think they should try to figure out how to do more with less, because BVS costed $250 million just to produce and another $150 million or so to market it. And it really makes me wonder why it costed so much for this movie. I mean, outside of the visual effects and the acting roster, etc. I mean, I just can't really see where almost $400 million went on this movie. Civil War costed about $250 million total between production and marketing, according to Box Office Mojo, and they destroyed the box office sales in comparison to BVS. And before someone says it, yeah, sure, Marvel's Civil War was already riding a wave of success and momentum created by the previous Marvel installments when it was released, as opposed to BVS, which is the only second installment to the new DCEU. But that's not the point to me. Marvel got way more bang out of its buck by just investing wisely. It's much easier to turn a profit if you aren't overspending, and I don't think it takes an economist to understand that, or some kind of super smart banker accountant or whatever. I feel like BVS tried to do too much and they could have saved some money, and that would have made their investment work out and look a little better on the spreadsheet when they're trying to make a presentation to the investors. That's just my opinion though. Moving on to number 4 on the list. Stop trying to force things. Stuff doesn't make sense when you force it. It feels out of place in my opinion, and it's really not worth taking the risk, especially when your only motivation for taking these risks is just so you can say that you're doing things differently than Marvel. That's all well and good if you're winning at the box office and critics are backing you up with good ratings and your fan base is united in agreement. But when you're sinking hundreds of millions of dollars into these projects and you're not meeting your target profit margins for investors and you're just pissing your fans off, it makes you look foolish and incapable of doing your job. There's nothing wrong with taking the safe route on some of these projects, for real. Because remember, there is a fine line between being a genius and being an idiot. Number 3, don't let the DC Extended Universe turn into the Batman Extended Universe. DC already has a reputation for relying too heavily on Batman, whether it's movies, comics, video games, whatever. And even Batman fanboys will admit that Batman seems to be oversaturating all things DC these days. Batman is cool and all, but DC has so many other characters on the roster that can carry their own weight inside the DCEU without tying in all the Batman. So I don't understand why it feels like it's going in this direction where it's going to, instead of being the Justice League, it's just going to be Batman and his bitches type deal. You know, it would even be dope to see the DCEU start to try to build some kind of cinematic multiverse too at some point. You know, shifting it away from Batman in that regard and making it about the multiverse and all the other different characters in there. Because that could also serve as a platform to launch several other characters into the mainstream spotlight. It also wouldn't hurt to lighten up the mood just a tad bit when it comes to the overall tone of DCEU. We like Batman, he's dark, he's brooding, all that good stuff. But honestly, no one wants to see a bunch of fucking comic book movies that are just dark, depressing, and brooding, set in a universe that's nothing but dark, depressing, dark, and brooding. You know what I'm saying? Like, not saying you have to go take the Disney approach, but there is a way to find balance. You know what I'm saying? And I think it would go a long way to helping the DCEU establish itself as a force to be reckoned with if they keep this in mind going forward. Point number 2. After Justice League is wrapped up, 1 and 2, and Snyder has fulfilled his contractual obligations, get him the fuck out of here, please. Maybe look at some other directors like George Miller, or give David Ayers an elevated status of position on the totem pole, something. Just find somebody to fill his vacancy, because to me, Snyder just doesn't fucking get it. He's a visually elite director. He has great talents. He has the ability to capture some immortalizing cinematic shot, and he even has some subtle style to some of his methods. But I think his understanding of the characters that he is directing in these movies is 100% inept. I mean, for heaven's sake, the name of Snyder's production company is Cruel and Unusual Films, which should be a huge red flag for somebody who's supposed to be handling characters that deal with hope and optimism and all types of other stuff. And that's not hyperbole. But seriously, after making two highly controversial movies back to back that have divided the DC fan base and made everyone question the future of the entire universe of the DCEU, I think it's time to cash out and move on, to be honest. And last but not least, please, for the love of Darwin, get the fuck out of Jeff Johns' way and let him do his fucking thing. WB needs to put all their eggs into one basket, with Johns being the basket and the upcoming movie projects being the eggs. Give him the keys to the car, the crown to the kingdom, whatever. Because at this point, I feel like the DCEU will turn out to be a complete failure without Johns in the driver's seat going forward. And I'm telling you now, if the powers that be over at WB don't let him steer this ship without handcuffing him to their ridiculous ideas of what movies should be or whatever they think is going on in Hollywood, I don't know how they do shit over there. But they're going to make the Titanic look like a day at the beach when they go down. Mark my words. But there you have it. My quick rundown of 5 easy ways I think the WB can improve the DCEU and save it from utter and total destruction. If you guys got anything else you want to add to the discussion, please feel free, drop a comment down below. Let everyone know how you're feeling. As usual, if you found any entertainment value in this video at all, please drop a like and subscribe to the channel. Also, don't forget to hook a brother up by sharing the video with all your friends and associates on all the various social media platforms. And don't forget, if you gotten the extra time and you want to stay up to date with all things Geekmaster, go ahead and check me out on Facebook at the Geekmaster fan page, where you'll find me acting a fool, posting memes and shit. But until next time, my nerd brethren, love y'all, stay fly, I'm out, one love. Peace.